Fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I thought I would do something I rarely ever do on my channel. In fact, I think I've maybe done one declutter in the history of my entire channel, but I went through my collection off camera and I picked out some products for a variety of reasons, and it actually started because I had a really bad experience with an indie brand and I just know that I'm never going to be comfortable talking about them on my channel again. So I started off decluttering a few products from them, which I'm not going to talk about today. That's how it started off, and then I was like, oh, this is kind of old, this is the wrong color, I'm not really using this, and it slowly became a small declutter. So I thought today I would quickly just kind of talk you through some of the reasons why I'm getting rid of products, and it could be a little discussion. I feel like this is more comfortable than actually going through each of my drawers, because I'm not really here for the like you should have decluttered more or you should have kept less kind of comments, because that's not what my channel is about. So let's just go ahead and jump right on in. Okay, so we have my first little box here, and on the very top is the Honey palette from ColourPop, and I'm actually not getting rid of this entire palette. I've decided to stop being so dang stubborn. Every time I say that there's a pressed glitter in this palette and I hate it, you guys tell me that I can remove it, and I'm like, yeah, but then it's weird and it's leaving a pan open, whatever, but I'm literally never reaching for this palette, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove the pressed glitter. I managed to get glitter like everywhere trying to remove that, but I finally did it. I know it looks kind of silly now, but it's fine. Maybe I will finally reach for this palette. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this pan. Okay, so another thing at the very top of this little box is my Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette. I thought I would just give it its final farewell. I've talked about this quite a lot recently, and some of you guys already know, but there's been some type of reaction in my palette, and that happened a long time ago. I scraped it out and I kept it for swatching purposes because I was like, I can swatch it, I can compare, not gonna put it on my eyes, but the reaction came back, and there's kind of discussions on whether it is or isn't mold, but either way, I just don't feel comfortable keeping it, so I am gonna go ahead and throw this away. Obviously don't feel comfortable passing that on to anyone either. And I actually do unfortunately have quite a few products today I'm probably gonna be throwing away because they're just so old. One of them is my Dewy and Smooth foundation from Maybelline. I bought this before I was even pregnant with my son. Like, this is super, super old. I was just looking at it in my collection. I'm like, that's kind of disgusting. So I'm going to get rid of that. I used it a decent amount, but it was always the wrong color. But I feel good letting that go because I just never use it. And I feel like I have so many foundations I never use because I just gravitate towards the same ones all the time. Another one I have here is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation, and I feel sad getting rid of this because it was a gift from a subscriber, and I really, really appreciate them sending it to me and giving me the chance to try it out. But there's just something about this foundation with my skin, it just does not work. It's not very luminous. It always ends up looking dry on my skin no matter what primer I use. My mom is currently looking for a hydrating foundation that works for her, so I'm going to give this to her and see if it'll work out, but it doesn't work for my skin. It always looks textured, and I don't have very textured skin. It's just something about this foundation doesn't work well for me. I also have the original Fenty foundation that I've got. I don't know why I bought this. This was one of those really stupid purchases I made because I don't wear matte foundations, and I've used it for mixing over time. The color was very good and light, and just probably one of the lightest foundations that I have. The finish is not for me. And it is definitely a little bit older. Again, I think maybe like 2.5 years old or something like that. So time to move on. I have some more. I'm just going to go through quickly. I have the Flower Beauty. What is this? Their About Face foundation, maybe. The shade was LF1, the lightest shade. Again, too dark for me, so I never used it and it's gotten old. Next, I have the Pure Bare It All foundation. This was actually my first PR package ever from a brand, and it makes me sad to get rid of it, but it's super, super old, and I just don't reach for this. I feel like it's a little bit thicker than what I normally go for. I have one foundation that I've kept that gives me more full coverage, but it's just not my overall look that I prefer to go for. I prefer to just do lighter coverage and spot conceal. I also have the Ordinary Coverage Foundation. I really did not like the finish of that. They have another one, which is a serum, which is really pretty. I also have the NYX Total Control foundation, which I did use a decent amount. I think I actually also dropped some of this, and it has separated. It looks quite milky. I don't know if you can tell. It looks very weird. It's a little bit too light for me, and it's also way, way too matte for me, so I am going to be getting rid of that one. I have the Wet n Wild foundation. good shade, but again, just too matte for me. I don't know why I went through this stage of like wanting to review every foundation ever and completely not even thinking about my skin type. I have the Berry M All Night Long Full Coverage Foundation, and this was just terrible. I hated it from first application. It doesn't look good on the skin. I don't even know how more to describe it. It's not for me. I have the Milani Conceal and Perfect Foundation, which I actually do really like this one. I have the shade 00A, which I kept, but this is the shade 00, which was their expansion, their original expansion. I was like, yay, they came out with a new shade. It's gonna be light enough for me. No, it still wasn't. It's still too dark. And as much as I'm like, oh, maybe I'll use it one day. Like I bought spray tanner and I was like, I'm going to use up my foundations. I've literally used the spray tanner twice. So that was even more of a dumb decision. So I'm going to let go of this also. It is very old and it's not my shade. Then I have the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation stick, which I love foundation sticks. And this is probably one of the oldest ones I have here, but it is smelling so bad. Like it definitely has gone bad. So I'm getting rid of that. And then that is all of the foundations, I think. No, I have one more foundation over here, which is the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation. Again, a little bit too dark for me. I did like this, but I wore it the other day and it just looks orange on my skin. So I'm going to let my mom try this because she's just not quite as pale as me. So I'm going to let her try it out and see if she likes it because I think it'll be more towards her preferences instead of just getting rid of that altogether. And then I have a concealer here. This is the e.l.f. Camo Concealer in the shade Fair Rose. Again, I'm going to let my mom try this just to see if it works out for her, but I hate this concealer. I just do not like it at all. I feel like it looks so bad on my under eyes, and I tried to make it work. I tried to use the tiniest little bit of product, and my under eyes are way too dry for that. And I love full coverage. I love Tarte Shape Tape, but I hate that concealer. I also have some older ones here. One is my BH Studio Pro Concealer, and I actually finished the like normal shade of this. Like, I think it was like, I don't know, maybe like 01 Fair or something. I liked it, but the white one I just never use. And even though it's nice in my head, I'm like, oh, I could mix this with a darker concealer, make it work. Like, I'm just way too lazy. I will never mix shades. As much as in like my fantasy, like my little mind, I'm like, oh, I'm mixing this and making it work and doing my perfect shade. Like, I never ever reach for this. And again, it's pretty old. I also have a HG concealer from NYX, and this is the green shade. Again, I never reach for it. Super old. I should not be putting that on my skin. I don't know, with powder products I'm like, I can like it's fine. It's like 6 years old, it's fine. But with liquids, if I even think it's a little old, I'm like, yeah, that needs to go. So also some other older things here would be my Wet n Wild cushion highlighter. I don't even want to talk about how old that one is. I have the Wet n Wild primer, and this one's, I don't think this is quite as old. I think I tried this more recently. I'm going to go back and look at my YouTube videos and see if I can find the first time I mentioned it. If it's not super old, I'm going to let my mom try it because maybe she'll like it. But I found that to kind of be more of a lotion, but like not super hydrating. It didn't give me like the luxe hydration that I personally need for my dry skin. I have the Ordinary High Spreadability Fluid Primer, and I really hate this because of the packaging. It's just so liquidy that if you try to use it, it literally gets everywhere. So for one, I don't really love this type of primer because it's so like slick and silicone-y, but I just couldn't even get it on my face without literally getting it everywhere. It's probably the worst packaging I've ever seen for a primer like this. I don't know, it just doesn't work. And then I have two liquid highlighters from the brand Velavante Cosmetics, and I think that they've actually stopped selling makeup. I think they do fashion now, and these were really pretty. Like, they're stunning colors, but I don't know if you guys can see, they've completely separated. They started leaking in the drawer, and they're not that old, but given that they're an indie brand and they don't look the best, I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them. I just don't want to take any risks. I've got another little box here full of products. So the thing on top here is, was the, like, it was Casey Holmes, but it wasn't Casey Holmes collaboration with Essence. And the whole situation was so weird. I literally never ever used these. I think I only swatched them, and maybe I used a blush shade like once. And I kind of stuck them together just because they stick and it kind of makes it like a little palette. So I'm going to see if my mom wants to try any of these, if she'll like any of the blush shades or something. If not, I might let my little sister, because she likes to play with makeup and it's just something like she's not allowed to wear out of the house or anything because she's still really young. But I'm going to pass that along because I just felt weird promoting it. And then I have a bronzer from Temptu, which I got through BoxyCharm years ago. Again, just a liquid product that I'd like to let go of. And then I have the Butter London Stroke of Wow liner, which I got through BoxyCharm. I don't really like this. It's like one of those like weird little roller liners. It's actually like completely dried out now, but even when it wasn't dried out, it just did not work for me. Like, it did not make liner any easier. I have a little highlighter from Wet n Wild. This is their highlighting stick in the shade Hello Darkness, or Halo Darkness. What does it say? No, it says Hello Darkness. And it's like this like weird lavendery gray shade. I just never used it. It's not that old, so again, I'm going to let my little sister use that just because I feel like when I went through the more makeup that was more like play, more fun, I kind of picked out for her because I'm just not using it and she likes it. I also have my Anastasia contour kit, and I'm not going to throw this away. I'm actually going to move it into a special box. So here's what it looks like. You can see I hit pan on one of the shades. This was an oldie goodie. Like, I used to use this so much. This is what I used to contour with, and I used to always try and use this yellow shade even though it's way too dark for me. I remember thinking this highlighter here was too intense. I would put the highlight on my cheekbones and then I would go over it with the matte highlight because I thought that was too intense, and look at me now. So this is like one of those palettes that's very memorable for me. It has a lot of feelings tied to it. So I actually have an entire box of makeup that I don't use because it's too old, but I have some sort of emotional attachment to it. So I'm going to go ahead and move this palette over to that box because I'm not going to use it, but I know it's silly. It's just like, it's a contour kit, like just throw it away. But it's sentimental for me. I have a sentimental box of makeup. Like my Urban Decay Electric palette is in there. So that's moving to there. This is probably one of the oldest things I have in my makeup collection here. And then I have two more palettes I'm going to be getting rid of, and I'm just going to give them to my little sister because I think they're not the best quality and they're colorful, so I think she'll have more fun just doing like makeup playtime with them. So the first is the Laura Lee Party Animal palette, which actually looking at the names now I'm like Dranks, Bottoms Up, Hungover. Should I give this to a 10-year-old? Now I'm not quite so sure, but I just know this is like the worst palette I've ever tried. I just thought the quality was horrendous, so I don't know, I'm just over it. I'm over keeping space for it. I like to hold on to palettes. I rarely get rid of palettes, but that one is just so bad. It's not even funny. And then I have the Take Me Back to Brazil palette from BH Cosmetics. I know a lot of people really love this, but I just can't get into it. I just don't like the quality. I feel like it's just mediocre, so I'm going to pass it on to my little sister as well. And I feel like that's a very like kid-friendly makeup playtime type palette. We have one more liquid product here, and I'm actually getting rid of this not because it's super old, but just because it doesn't work for me. This is the No Pore Primer from Touch in Sol. Every time I use one of their products, it breaks me out. So I'm going to give this to my mom and see if she wants to try it, if she likes it. But I've tried it on and off for so long, and it always ends up breaking me out again. And I don't even really care for a No Pore primer. Like, that doesn't matter to me. I don't care about pores. Like, that's not a problem I have. I have two bronzers here, and one is really old and one's actually kind of new. So the first one is the Betty Lou Manizer. And I chose these two to get rid of because every other bronzer I have, I absolutely love. And these are the two that I never ever use. So this one, I mean, I used it a little bit, but it's just a little bit too dark for me. I do like a satin bronzer, but I'm just a little bit too fair for this one. And again, it is super old. And then I have this one from Medusa's Makeup, which is their Sun Kissed bronzer. It says it's cruelty-free and vegan. I might actually see if I can pass this along to a friend, maybe. I don't want to throw it away, but I did a unboxing of a Medusa Makeup subscription box. I didn't end up posting it because I accidentally deleted the footage, and I didn't realize until like the end of the month, and it was just like bad timing. It was just a mess, but this was in there, and it's I can't even open it. It is way too dark and too orange. Like, I could never use that as a bronzer. It almost looks like I could maybe use it as a blush, but it's pretty pigmented as well, so it's just not something that I'm interested in using. I've had it and I was kind of like, oh, maybe I can make it work in some way, but I literally haven't reached for it since the first time I used it. So I have this Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Marine Boasting Mini little spray. Again, it's just something super old. It's a sample. It was never anything I was super interested in. I didn't feel like it did anything for me, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then Lippies is where it kind of gets interesting. So I have first I have 3 Jouer lip toppers. I literally hate these. I don't know why I bought them because I hate metallic lips, and these are super metallic. You can try and use them lightly, but it's not my personal preference. So I'm going to give these to my little sister because, again, sparkly lips, like I feel like it's very 10-year-old-esque to me. I'm so sorry if you love sparkly lips. Everyone is allowed to like their own things, but for me, that's a no-go. I also have the ColourPop Hello Kitty gloss, which I think I literally never used, not one single time. So I'm going to let her have that as well once I check when the Hello Kitty collection was, because I have no idea. And then I have some glosses from Pure, which I'm going to be getting rid of. And it's because they're just so old. I know they're so old. I think I got these right after my son was born. They were PR. And this one shade here I used a lot. The shade DIY I really liked. I don't know if you can tell, there's actually some usage going in there. And I really liked the size of these. But I have a gloss that does the exact same thing as this, so I'm not going to repurchase it. But again, I just know they're so old, it's pretty gross to be using. And then I have this. This is the Mater Makeup Lab lip frosting. I just don't like the color. I got this in a subscription box, and also it leaks, like the packaging is faulty, and I actually got all over some other things that I had to clean off, so I think I'm going to get rid of that. Again, it's a little bit older. I have this one, which makes me sad, but this is the Enchanted Luster Cosmetics Prism lip gloss, which is cute, and I don't have a lot of lip glosses from indie brands, so it's adorable. But the thing is, whenever I put it on my skin, it starts reacting to it. I have some type of allergic reaction to this formula, so obviously I'm not going to keep it. I have this Tarte lip paint. Actually, did I mean to get rid of this? I feel like I actually kind of like that. I'm going to keep that. It's not that old. I have the Stila Stay All Day liquid lipstick. I got this before I graduated high school. That's really old. That's super old. That needs to go. I also am getting rid of a ton of liquid lipsticks from one particular brand, and this makes me sad because I like the formula, but there's a packaging thing here, and I don't know, it feels really wasteful to get rid of them, but I can't keep them because they keep breaking. These are my Monroe liquid lipsticks. They sent me all of them in PR. I did film a lip swatch video, but then I accidentally forgot one shade, and then I lost the footage before I went to deck to do another one, and then I never posted it. It was a mess again. I'm a mess. The problem with these is the lids break like crazy. Almost every single lid is broken now, and the only thing is if you try and close it, it breaks. Like, it's this, I don't even understand. They are, like, the packaging is just so faulty, and I've had to clean them up multiple times. They're just frustrating, and even though I like the formula, I like the colors, like, I don't want liquid lipstick getting everywhere, so I have to get rid of them. They're just, the packaging, like, should have been tested out a little bit better, I think, because you try and twist it and bam, they break. I also have a Jordana lipstick, which is a white shade. I bought this because I was like, ooh, I can do a video because it reminds me of that one Jeffree Star lipstick. And I did a video on it, and it literally looks so horrendous used by itself. You could use it and mix it with other things, but like I said before, I never mix things. I'm like, I'm gonna mix it, but then I never mix it. So I'm getting rid of that. Again, it's pretty old. I also have another liquid lipstick that I bought before I graduated high school. I already got rid of the other shades in this one. It was a favorite formula, but I can't keep that anymore. I have some lipsticks that have gone bad, like disgustingly bad, so we can kind of gross ooh and ah over them, like the worst ooh and ahing possible. This makes me really sad, actually, and I didn't realize how fast these were gonna go. I want to say I only owned this lipstick for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. I'll have to look, but this is Sugarcane from Bite Beauty. You guys, it's literally moldy. It molded. It's gross. I'm like, I did not own this that long, and I know Bite Beauty is more of like natural ingredients, but don't they have preservatives? Like, why do I have the worst luck ever with mold? So I'm gonna be getting rid of that, and because I saw that and I was so disgusted, I definitely wanted to go ahead and check my other Bite lipsticks. My shade Taurus is still doing okay. I have this one, which was like a little mini set, and it looks like there's a little something going on there, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of it. It was like a Sephora birthday gift or something. There is the shade Chai, which again, like, it just, I don't know, it looks kind of funny. Doesn't really smell the best anymore, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Then either of those shades were really my kind of shade. They were just a free sample. I have a lipstick here from Color Cosmetics, and this is the shade Peach Cobbler. I really liked this one, but I don't know, it looks pretty funky. I feel like that's something you're supposed to use like right away, like within like 6 months or something. So that's unfortunate. I have one here which literally doesn't even have a name on it. And again, I don't know if you can tell. I don't know if this is lipstick going bad or not. It just has like this like weird look on it, like this like white paleness, and it just freaks me out. I don't want to put it on my lips if there's something wrong with it. So I'm like, I don't know. I actually already did my outro, but I remembered one more product that I wanted to mention to you guys, which I'm so sad about. This is probably the worst thing and I don't want to get rid of it, but this is my Menagerie Cosmetics liquid lipstick in the shade Catfight. Literally my favorite all-time red. The formula is beautiful, but something is up with the packaging because it broke on me, like the weirdest breakage ever. And I actually heard from a bunch of you guys when I mentioned this that this has happened to you too as well, and you've had some different horror stories about how bad the mess was from them breaking, whether it be your purse, your carpet, whatever, your home. So and then once it does break, the formula changes because it's like contaminated by so much air. So I'm sad because this shade isn't even available on their website anymore. I think it's going to come back eventually, but I'm also nervous to buy this packaging again because I know they did a smaller size, but I'm really hoping they fixed it because like that, it makes me sad. I feel like that was such a waste of money and now I have to get rid of my favorite red ever. So super sad to see this one go, but that is pretty much everything for my declutter today. All the things I'm moving out of my collection. It's not that much in the grand scheme of things, but it does feel nice to have a little bit of extra room in some drawers. So I hope you enjoyed it and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.